Okay, here we are. This is lesson 6 of how to draw a Shelby Daytona Coupe. And as you can see, we're working more on the hood again today. What I'm trying to do is to set up the painted areas next to the white stripes so that it shows the contrast between the paper, or the white in this case, and the blue hood. So I'm just going over with a light coat. Again, this is what I always do, and it's like primer when you're doing a body, because I can't do it all in one layer. I have to do it in a couple layers, and I start out with a real light one just to mark out the areas that I'm going to darken, and then I go back several times in order to make them darker, depending on what tone they're actually going to finally have. But I always start, or try to start, with the darkest areas first, which you see the shadows and everything underneath, and like in the fender wells and in the spokes of the wheels and things like that. And then from there, then I start to work on the lighter areas. But even in the lighter areas, there are different tonal values. It's not all one color, it's not all one shade. So what I do is I try to do the darkest areas of that too, but it takes me several layers to make that dark color. So when you see me go up and do this, I put the light one on first, and then I'm going back and I'm starting with the darkest end and then working toward the lighter one. And all that is just fewer dots per inch, per square inch. And that just makes it look lighter. So it's just like a inkjet printer, like I keep saying. If you've seen several of these, you've heard that several times, but that's exactly what we're doing. It's exactly like an inkjet printer, which just builds a picture out of dots, except our dots are much bigger, because the smallest pen I can get is still considerably larger than the ink spots that an inkjet printer puts down. But it gives the same idea. It gives you a varying shade from one end to the other, and from dark to light. And if you put enough of those in, then it makes an interesting drawing. If you don't, it gets boring. So the object is to try to see the subtle differences between the darks and the lights. And very often you're going to put a really dark value right next to a light value. And what that'll do is give you the absolute best drama you can get, and that'll make the most interesting drawing. So it's all a game. You're working one against the other, and if you do it right, it turns out great. If you don't, then it kind of looks sort of boring. But it is what it is, and you're just trying to do the best job you can with it. And I really love to do this. I mean, it is so much fun to do, because when I start out with one of these drawings, even with a relatively detailed pencil sketch underneath it, I take a look at it and I say, oh my God, this is never going to be done right. It's never going to look great. And they always come in okay. So it's very unusual, but every time I do it, I think it isn't going to work out right. And they always do. So I guess at some point I'm probably going to start to believe that it will. And I keep doing them, so I know in my mind that it will, but still in my heart, it always feels like a miracle when when it works out right. But it's just great fun to do. I mean, to see a drawing like this appear in front of you is just totally crazy, and it's really fun. Anyway, running short of time for today. We're going to try and finish the hood tomorrow, and then we'll start working toward the back of the car and do a little bit more detail on it. But that's it. I hope to see you back here. Thank you very much. Bye.